Hey folks, welcome back. This is Chris in South Africa. Well, a lot of people have been asking me to talk about this economic freedom fighters and their intent to go to Orania to cause chaos on the 22nd of April. I've pretty much stayed away from this issue. But a recent release from the economic freedom fighters in the Northern Cape says they call for a review of the status of Orania. Well, Orania is a private corporation. It complies with South African laws. What is your issue? They say that the town undermines national unity, perpetuates apartheid-era ideologies. Well, that's kind of what you're doing, perpetuating apartheid-era ideologies, going after people for their ethnicity and their race. What Orania is allowed under the Constitution. So what's your problem with it? Now, the EFF contends that Orania's focus on Afrikaner self-determination encourages division and could fuel similar movements for ethnic-based autonomy in regions like the Western Cape and KwaZulu-Natal. Really? How exactly is Orania encouraging KZN and the Western Cape? KZN has its own potential secession movement from the Zulu, and the Western Cape has had its own secession movement from a host of different parties for several years, and nothing has come of it. So how does Orania play into that? Some remote little corporate town located in the middle of nowhere in the Northern Cape where nobody wants to live except these people. When they're not accusing them of racism and harming black folks, well, then they're busy lying about them. And I remember the videos, oh, they make black people do this, make black people do that. Actually, all the hard labor is performed by white folks in the town. You can quibble with Orania. There are points to quibble, but, it's none of your business, none of my business. They're following the law. Leave them alone. So, anyway, I'll tell you, the EFF little red Teletubbies just can't help themselves, always stick their nose in other people's business. It's interesting they talk about division. What do they actually profess? Nothing but division. Joyce Malema said they're going to take the farms, they're going to take the land from white people. Why? Because they're white? He called white South Africans who have legal title to the land, who bought their land since the new dispensation 1994, thieves, because his ancestors lost wars. Interesting. So who's the one sowing racial division? Well, it's the red Teletubbies. They do it all the time with their attacks on Clicks. Remember that? A BEE-compliant, black-owned business, Clicks Pharmacies. Yeah, they sent their minions out to attack them. 43 Clicks locations attacked, including one that was petrol-bombed. No charges of domestic terrorism. No action ever taken against the economic freedom fighters. Now, why is that? These are the people who sow division in South Africa, and they sow racial division. That's the most disgusting of all types of division. Political division, that's one thing. But racial division, that's a horrible thing. And this is what they do. So, we'll see about their march on Orania. I doubt they'll be able to find it. So we'll see what happens on the 22nd of April. I would hold my breath that they're actually going to accomplish anything out there. As we know, when 500 EFF supporters show up and 10 Boers show up, the EFF tend to run away. So let's try to avoid any trouble, folks. Let's try to convince EFF they need to behave themselves and focus on something that matters. Where's that school you promised to build 5 years ago for South Africans? I haven't seen that school. Where did Malema build that school at? Come on, Juju, tell us where the school is. What have you ever done for South Africans? What have you built? What have you accomplished? What cities have you run? Not a single one. All you've brought is division and chaos. Collapsing city councils in Gauteng and Port Elizabeth. Yeah, that's who you are. That's your DNA, EFF. That's your DNA. Chaos and confusion. They don't want unity. They're just troublemakers of the highest order. What say you, South Africa? What say you?